All right, that wasn't easy. I never got the invite for this thing. Thought I was fired. How you doing, Phil? All right?
Yeah, hanging in there. Working a little late in the office tonight, so.
All right.
How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. Just getting things moving.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it is. Let's see what we got online. Did you ever see anything go out for solicitations for nominations of new members? Or is that something that had to be voted on?
I have not seen anything.
Okay.
Michael.
Yeah.
The ad ran on Sunday, I believe, and the applications are due Friday.
This past Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they're due this Friday at 5 o'clock, but I hadn't
Okay.
received anything yet.
All right. Thanks.
You're
Time no see, right? Or talk to you.
Okay. Give it just a few more seconds and we'll get started.
All right, I think I'm operational. Good afternoon, Phil, everybody, Michael.
Hey, Malcolm.
All right, John. Good to see you guys. Where are you, Michael?
I'm in a magic mystery world here.
Yeah, it looks it.
Well, it's either I put in the back side of my office, which nobody wants to see, or I put on a nice picture from Inna Vista Phase 2. So
Yeah, I see
I'll
Green Street
prefer
there
this
looking
one.
good.
they had a nice article today in the Cola Daily. So, well, one of the student intern reporters did a good job.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Going to go ahead and call the order Transportation Penny Advisory Committee meeting for September 28th, 2020. To begin, I would like to take a moment to comment on Councilman Jackson's passing. It was definitely caught me personally off guard, and it's very tragic. And definitely want to extend our condolences to his family. He was very much a very kind and thoughtful person, and I really somebody that was actually just born to serve and lead, and wanted to make his community better. And so he's definitely, his loss is going to be our loss. And I definitely hope there's more people to step into his place and want to serve and have that drive to make a better place for his community. So I just wanted to comment on that and extend our condolences to his family.
Thank you, Phil. I certainly second that. He was a huge help to us, a very rational, thoughtful guy. And I echo your comments completely. Thank you for that.
Did anybody sign up for public comments tonight?
I didn't get any emails. I don't know if you got any on your other account.
I didn't get any on mine. Okay. With that, we'll move on to the Office of Small Business Opportunities update.
Good evening, everybody. Erica Wade from the Office of Small Business Opportunities. Good to see everybody again. So real briefly, since we met last, which was August,
Yeah.
July. Anyway, as you can see, as far as our SLBE numbers are concerned, we showing 93 on the report, but that has since changed. On Friday, we were able to certify 2 more SLBEs, so that number is now 95. And we also had 2 new additional applications that dropped in the hub on Friday also. So once we get those certified, we'll be up to 97. So we're still trending and we're still retaining our SLBEs in spite of everything that's been going on. Just to kind of give a recap of some of the activities that we had going on September the 10th, we had our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Summit, which was really, really good. We maintained about 87 participants on the call throughout the time. We had speakers, we had speakers that came from, oh my gosh, I'm just drawing blank all of a sudden. Ron Harvey. We had Ron Harvey, that was one of our panelists, along with Ms. Colette Holt. And we also had guest panelists that came from Dominion Energy. We had the Supply Diversity director from BMW that participated. We had Dominique from Optus Bank that was on there. So we had we had one of our SLBs, Mr. Chow and Associates. You guys may be familiar with Mr. Chow, but overall we got a really good, we got really good feedback from all of the attendees. We got a good feedback from our assistant county administrator. We got words like the conversation was honest, it was thought-provoking, so it hit all. It lived up to all of our expectations, I must say that. So if you want to go and view it, it's on Richland County's YouTube page. Coming up on October the 15th, we're going to start highlighting our SLBEs. We call it Front and Center Live. So we're going to kind of target some of our SLBEs and just give them an opportunity just to kind of showcase some of the things that they're doing. We're going to start off with our caterers because, that was one of the hardest industries that got hit during COVID when you're talking about your restaurant. So we want to highlight our SLBEs. That's part of being, a certified SLBE. Just to talk about all the good things that they have going, items they may have going. And then we'll move on to another industry. Also, we've attended a few trainings through along the way. As far as goal setting, we just did we resubmitted a project that was done earlier in the year. It was at a 25% utilization goal, but I think since that number may be different, and I'm pleased to announce that this is a non-transportation project. So as you can see, we're not just setting goals on transportation projects now, we're also starting to penetrate countywide. So that's a big plus for us. As far as us pivoting, when we do our certification process, we usually do face-to-face site visits. So one thing we've learned how to do is now how to do site visits virtually, and that has been working really, really good. And we're happy about that because we learned something else new that we can do utilizing Zoom like we're doing today. What else? I think that's pretty much all that we want to highlight, but OSBO is steadily moving along in the right direction. And we just want to say thank you all for your support. Any questions?
No, not for me. The numbers seem to be pretty steady, Erica, over the last couple of months, if not slightly increasing a little bit. So hopefully that translates into actual business opportunities for all those folks.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
How have some of the SLBs been adapting throughout all this? I'm assuming, like you said, the recaters have been hit a little harder than others. Are they seeming to get along okay so far?
Surprisingly, I won't say surprisingly, let's say yes. They have been, in the beginning it was a shocker for everybody with all the uncertainties, but once everybody got into the flow and kind of felt their way, things are now starting to pick up. We kept in contact with our SLBEs to kind of check and make sure that they're doing okay, especially the ones that was coming up for certification. We kind of split those up into groups, and everybody was responsible for, their group, and we call and check on them and just say, hey, is there anything you need? How are you doing? And that's one of the reasons why we are also having our training. So once everything is open, they'll be equipped and ready. So overall, they're maintaining. Thank God for that.
Indeed. Yeah. Just surviving is a plus these days.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we'll move right into transportation program update.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the update, Erica. We've got a lot of exciting news coming out of transportation these days, and I'm very glad to be able to provide a substantial update for everybody. If you turn to page 8, you'll notice a few council approvals at the top. We've recently been able to start turning out several service orders to some of our new OETs or existing OETs that had gone to a 30% with the previous design. Currently pending for council next week will be approval of a service order for the Polo Road widening. Previously, that was a 3-lane, basically 2 lanes with the center turn to be widened between Two Notch and Mallet Hill with bicycle and pedestrian accommodations. What was proposed and what is approved now is to evaluate design for it, or look at 4 intersections and doing intersections improvements as noted in your agenda item, and then evaluating a 5th to be improved as well. So that's pending. Another pending is before council is two parcels that the county owns as part of the Three Rivers Greenway. Those are by the city and then deeded over as part of completing that project. Approved through second reading is a deed to transfer a utility water line for Clemson Road as part of Clemson Road widening. Third reading is coming up for that. And then the other thing that was approved for sale through ad hoc the other week was some mitigation bank, or actually the other week, a couple months ago, the mitigation bank credits to Kershaw County for one of their projects.
Real quick before we move on, if you don't mind, I was just curious about the mitigation bank credits. How many credits are there, and what are the prices per credit that we're going at right now?
Yeah. Give me a second. I'll be glad to pull that up for you.
I'd be happy to ask through an email.
I don't know the exact number offhand, and I have the credits, but the numbers that we have and how much they cost. Let me get through my report. I can get back to you at the end if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to raise the concern that I know that you will often find yourself looking for those kinds of credits when you can't find them, and so I worry about selling them and the prudence of that. But I understand that. I'm sure that y'all have done this for a good reason. I understand that you have enough to complete your other projects. So
since we're on that topic, yes, in general, the bank was developed with the penny in mind, and the evaluation of how many credits, whether it be stream or wetlands, for the projects that were they thought would have impact. So those are ours. Anything excess is what we're selling now.
Okay, great. Excuse me for interrupting.
No, it's okay. Perfectly fine. Moving into the pre-con update, again, still on page 8. There has been, I previously briefed, I think maybe back in May or June, of a service order modification agreement with one of our OETs for Gilkey Greenway. It hadn't been finalized yet. It's still in negotiation. So I just wanted to correct that because it was previously said otherwise. We formally sent and had approved a administrative adjustment with the City of Columbia Trail Administration Adjustment Committee, which gives us that formal approval for deviating from the normal 14-foot standards for Gills Creek to a 12-foot, allowing us to use that money to extend the termini as well as the realignment that was approved back in December council, as well as certain materials used for the boardwalk. We have a service order approved. Malcolm, you'll be glad to see this for the Blythewood area improvements.
I did notice that.
Extension as well as McNulty Road that has been issued to our OET partner, Parish and Partners, and they'll be getting to work on that directly.
Michael, but can I interrupt and just ask you if you've got any news at all on the right-of-way acquisition for Blythewood Road? It looks as though it's still hung up over legal questions about acquiring some of them.
Yeah, it does look that way. It's actually been a hot topic of discussion over the last week or so. So we're I'll just say it's in the forefront. It's in the works because I really want to get these 4 parcels resolved so we can get this thing advertised.
Right, indeed. Right. Thank you.
And just along those lines, it's also important to our friends over at Economic Development. They're actively working on getting the industrial site, that pad developed. And as you know, the widening has some direct ties in with that. So we're making sure we coordinate appropriately, and we're in lockstep moving forward with economic development.
Thank you, sir.
Moving forward, a service order was approved for the Crane Creek Neighborhood Improvement Project Phase 3, which is sidewalks, crosswalks, ADA compliant ramps, Dakota Drive, Seagull Lane, Robertson, and Lincolnshire North Drive. Really good project, about 2.31 miles. And that'll, I believe, wraps up that neighborhood improvement set of projects. So that'll be getting underway. Some pending, we have a pending approval for the Smith Rocky Branch Greenway Section C, which is the part from Olympia Park that goes down and connects to the Granby Park Greenway along the Congaree River. We're just waiting that approval so we can move forward with that. And then Crane Creek Greenway Section B, about a month or maybe a month and a half ago, they had a site survey with the Richland County Transportation Team, City of Columbia, and a few others to go out, and subsequent to that, they've gone through and developed the scope to have that designed. So that's in the final steps to get put together so that can be issued out also. Moving on to everyone's favorite, our construction update found on page 9. If you've been up to North Springs Harrington anytime soon, it is substantially complete as of February. It's a project that moved along exceptionally well, and very few issues outside of the normal things like, geez, I'm drawing a blank too here. Anyway, just environmental controls and whatnot. So that's we call it 95% complete. The punch list items were issued to the contractor the other day, so that contract will be working on that. Additionally, Polo Road SUP began in April, is progressing well with anticipation date around by early 2021, by winter 2021. Similarly, Harrison Road sidewalk, talk about a mile 2 of sidewalk, has been going exceptionally well. I know Ms. McBride commented publicly about how well the project's going and how good it looks. So that the contractor's doing exceptionally well with that, and it's definitely been a good project. Anticipated completions also in early 2021. You can see from the picture behind me, Green Street Phase 2 or Innovista Phase 2, calling it 15% complete. Still working on utilities with some relocation and some other issues, but that's a normal thing. As you can see from the picture behind me, this is from a week or 2 ago, where they installed the girders on the bents. Really creating that bridge look. It definitely attracted a lot of attention from like students and the general public alike. Clemson Road, 75%, still looking at early winter 2021 completion. North Main 80% complete, on track for early 2021 completion. Continuing on, Three Rivers Greenway, we're holding at 99%. The good news, and this has been a lot of work, but the city and the county have agreed to divide the project into a 1A and 1B. 1A being the current completed portion from the eastern terminus near the Boyd Allen connector all the way to the western terminus up near I-26 flyover. So once the county provides approved as-built surveys to the city, and we finally get our revised language back for amended IGA from the city, we'll officially turn that project open, and it can officially be open to the public. And then we've got our construction estimate that we're working on for the remaining portion. We call it 1B, the Boyd Allen connector, and that'll be designed, constructed, and completed. And then similarly, it will be turned over to the city. After looking at the options with that, it's been determined that we'll be doing a bridge or a pedestrian walkway that'll connect the area that has been washed out. And that seemed to be the, I hate to say the easiest, but the best route for the project to go. The remaining things, the sidewalks, they are complete. We're doing some additional drainage work on Magnolia Street. Dirt road package J paving is complete. We fixed some drainage issues on Haven Circle, and it's our final inspections pending. Candlewood Neighborhood Improvement Phase 3 is complete. CERN is approximately 67% complete and going very well, looking at a winter 2021 completion. Resurfacing P with his 80 roads is complete, and resurfacing Q is substantially complete, with only a little remaining section of an intersection that's going to be paved. Any questions on construction?
Michael, just a quick related question. How are you managing with staff and inspectors requirements? Because that was a challenge some while ago. Are you sort of up to full force now?
Yeah, we're up to full force. Our inspectors are focusing on primarily those non-DOT projects, dirt roads, resurfacing, as well as we've done the North Springs Harrington intersection. All the larger projects such as Innovista Phase 2 and CERN, North Main are all our contract inspectors. So we're good on that. We're full up.
Very good. Good. Thank you.
So now the more exciting part is the upcoming solicitations. We've got 3 solicitations currently with procurement, resurfacing R with the 52 roads, and those are shown in your agenda on page 11. That's ready to go, as well as dirt road package K. We've got those 4 roads that were already primed. As we've looked at some of the other roads that need to be readdressed, and that's been an ongoing challenge. Not challenge too hard, but it's just been making sure we're doing it right and fairly and transparently. So K will come out with those 4. And then Faraway Side Road Drive sidewalk. That's the part of the Decker Woodfield Neighborhood Improvement Project. And we thought that would be let on Friday, but it looked more likely to be let this week. Beyond that, we got the Clemson Road sidewalk nearly ready to go for advertisement. Bull Elmwood intersection, which we're waiting on negotiating one final portion. And then Malcolm, to your point, the Blythewood widening. I call it winter 2021 by the time everything gets squared away, and that'll be able to move forward.
Right.
With that, are there any questions I can attempt to answer?
I do have a couple. So the Bull Street Elmwood intersection, I'm guessing that one last piece is we're still having ongoing talks with the church.
Yeah, it was less talks with the property owner, but it was more the most appropriate way to move forward. And so I've been in discussions with our administration as well as legal to make sure we're doing this right, since it'll really be the first time we're going out in that route. Trying to not condemn and settle.
Yeah. No, I mean I do.
It's close though. It's very close.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that there's been more than enough attempt to, get that settled without too much commotion. I think y'all been met with a little too much pushback on that. So
We met with them in July, and it was a really good conversation. So I'm very, very optimistic.
Okay, very good. One other, so the Three Rivers Greenway, last I checked, there was still some negotiation going on with the railroad. Is that settled now too?
It's settled. We looked at working with the railroad for one of the options to connect from the completed portion of the Greenway to the Boyd Island connector. And after an evaluation from the design team, the engineers, they found that a elevated pedestrian walkway would solve the problem and allow us to not need to encroach on railroad property outside of maybe getting a permission for equipment during construction. That'd be about it. So that would be any follow on, but we would, that would be about it.
And then one last question on the Gills Creek Greenway. The alternative materials, what does that involve exactly?
So what the design and the requirements call for is some type of manufactured material, kind of like a Trex-like product. And if you've ever built a deck or had a deck built on your house, you realize the difference between good pressure treated lumber and a composite plastic wood type material. So the ask a while back was to can we get regular high quality pressure treated lumber for the boardwalk portions, and that was granted by the city to us. That'll really help with cost and being able to maximize the length, even with the additional reallocated funding from the other segments. Any other questions?
Yeah, I would like to jump in if I can. Again, to the Gills Creek, has any public comment been gained for those changes? You mentioned it's been approved by council, I'm assuming county council, and but has this been brought to the Gills Creek Watershed Association or any of those other stakeholders to discuss? Or would that be part of the city's responsibility in their review of the modification?
Yeah, so the modifications that were approved by the city for the what they call it administrative adjustment for the width as well as the material was, I believe, championed by Gills Creek Watershed Association for quite a while, and I'm briefing y'all on this now because we finally formally requested it from the city and they immediately approved it.
Okay.
This will allow us to move forward once the service order mod is completed and that OET can go out and provide more information or some kind of public meeting with the public.
So the association was happy to do whatever they could to make it happen.
Static, yeah. They're glad we listened to them finally.
Yeah,
It's
all right.
just one of those things. It's just, and it's good to know. And John Fellows, who's from Planning and Development with the city, outstanding person. He's really championed a lot of this and got us on the straight and narrow. And unfortunately, he's moving on. I made the announcement a while ago, but and we were trying to get as much done as we could while he was still there. And I'm sure that your next person will step up and we'll continue to have some great coordination.
I know they've got some good people in that department for sure. So
Absolutely,
I don't doubt it.
absolutely.
With the monthly reports, when do we all start updating schedules for, procurement and construction and that sort of thing? For example, the Smith Rocky Branch Greenway Section C that you talked about earlier down in Olympia and the Congaree. I was just curious to see when that might be built, and I noticed that's not including those reports. Is there another place I can look that has that, or is it just so speculative at this point that it's not even worth guessing?
To be honest, it's been a real challenge to just get the most relevant information in there, and sometimes these loose bar charts are ambiguous by design, but what I'm going to go, you always bring up good points at each one of these meetings and we try to do those adjustments with that feedback. So as the PMs are getting more comfortable with the type of information we're providing in them, the next step would be to, move the lines a little bit to make them maybe a little more accurate. And, but I take your point. We probably need something that shows something with a little more fidelity that we have where these are lining up.
And I noticed some of that ambiguity too. With the years are just kind of floating out there on the bar somewhere. You can't tell if it's winter or summer, but I understand it needs to have a little bit of that, so y'all have some flexibility to get some things done. I will say, great solution with getting the Three Rivers Greenway, the Section 1A, complete and turned over to the city. I think that's awesome. I've been worried about people down there pirating that for a while, and whether it's covered by insurance or not, and the kind of liabilities that go along with it. So I'm glad we're doing something to get that open. And then finally, do you have like an earth cam link for that view of the bridge right there, or is that someone standing on a parking garage taking a picture?
We'll give all credit to Alex, our inspector, who got
Okay.
the parking garage at Green Cross. Snapped some great pics from up there.
I was hoping for a link so I could just watch it get built all the way through, but that's all right.
That would be
That's
neat. That's a neat idea.
all right.
But,
I'll stop bothering y'all now. Thank you.
sure. Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
With that, we'll move on to the comment program update.
John Ando did acknowledge receipt
Yeah,
of the
comment.
link. So,
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying had an unstable internet connection just now.
Do we want to speak at all to this financial summary sheet? And it looks like we've got some variance to the right side and that sort of thing. Michael, did we stop you before you got to that point?
I'm sorry. Are you talking about the transportation side?
Yeah.
Or comment?
With yours, yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
That we're trying to get in.
Okay, I see John's iPhone coming.
Oh, are you guys ready for me? I apologize.
Yeah, there he is. Good afternoon, John.
Okay.
You're on.
Her.
1 second.
John, the regarding the variances on the construction.
We're gonna wait a couple of minutes.
I
Does
did-
anybody have any questions so far?
From July. So anything that was the only change to expenditure.
Okay, I apologize. Can you ask that question again?
I was talking to John Epting on it regarding something else.
Okay.
You're good to go ahead.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, committee members. John Ando here at the comment, and I'll give you a quick summary of the documents that are part of your packet. The first thing that I have provided to you is the Vision 2020 Compass Progress Report. This is the year that we are at the end of Vision 2020, as well as at the end of our strategic plan. And as part of the Penny referendum, we were responsible for implementing a vision to the voters on how we're going to operate the Comet Transit System. So this report basically summarizes everything that we have done since the Penny was passed and what is still outstanding as a result. And we're pleased to report that we've completed about 95% of all the items that were in the vision that was presented to the voters in 2013 with the funding that we've been able to leverage from the state and federal government. Let's see. After that report, since we haven't reported in a while, we've given you copies of the DB compliance invoicing reporting from our prime contractor responsible for operating the transit system. And it appears by the end of their contract that they were successful in meeting the 25% goal that was established by the board of directors for them. Page 43 is the financial summary for March, April, May, and June of the COMET to give you an idea on our financial highlights. At the end of June 2020, we have expended $119,711,252 of the $300,991,000 allocation for the COMET services. And we have a remaining balance of about $181,279,748. It is our goal this year to update Vision 2020 to Vision 2030 and update our strategic plan. And the main focus of those two documents is to develop a strategy on how to make the COMET sustainable when we have expended that final balance of penny funds, and develop a strategy on how we're going to fund our services after the penny ends. We are projecting that we have enough funds to last us through fiscal year 2028, 2029 at this point. And that's through storing funds in the state interest investment pool and building up our reserves. Previously, we were projecting ending in 2027. So those initial financial strategies we implemented in the last 2 years has helped us gain additional revenues to keep us going. The next page is a report from our planning department on the various planning activities we have going on. That includes our launching the Reimagine the COMET planning effort, where we're going to study the transit system and come up with new plans on how we can run buses and other mobility services in Richland and Lexington counties. We continue to be aggressive in adding bus stops, bus shelters, and other transit facilities throughout the service area. We are now at officially 88 bus shelters throughout the service area. And just only 2 years ago, we were only at 35. So you may have started to see a lot of gray shelters pop up throughout the service area, and we're gonna continue until we can get to 175 bus shelters throughout Richland and Lexington counties. On September 1, after 20 years of effort, we were successful in negotiating a contract with the University of South Carolina, and now their routes are part of the COMET system. And that service is known as U of SC Transit. They're branded like the COMET, and the service is free. And we have routes that circulate within the U of SC campus with some extensions to MTC Beltline and MTC Airport campus. And on that report, you will see a list of all the bus shelters that we've installed since May of 2020. And we've also provided you a map of U of SC Transit if you're interested in wanting to utilize that service. This service is solely funded by the university. There are no penny tax funds used to operate that program. One nice thing about being a part of having U of SC part of our transit system is that we can now count their riders, which is about 500,000 passenger trips a year, which will generate an additional 200,000 in federal funds that we can leverage the penny funds to support the overall COMET system. So having an integrated transit system like this makes sense, and it's done in many areas across the country. The next page is a list of all of the services that we're presently running during the pandemic. We are running a modified schedule that is basically in a Saturday's level of service, but it's enhanced on routes that warrant additional frequencies than what we would normally run on a Saturday. We do have routes that are suspended right now just because of low ridership or no demand. And as we get through the pandemic and the demand comes, we'll look at reinstating those routes. Be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
sounds pretty positive overall, John, from what I'm hearing and seeing. So the ridership overall is steady, would you say?
Ridership is down. When the pandemic hit, we went down, not as bad as other transit agencies did, but we went down as low as 55%. And now we're at 33% of what we should have been. So it's slowly coming back.
Right, right.
And I hope to have some ridership reports at the next meeting. We have changed contractors, so we are waiting those monthly reports.
Right.
John, just curious about the safety of your drivers. I understand that 2 tested positive COVID-19, and how's that going? What's the outlook?
Those drivers are doing fine. They are in quarantine right now. And if they test positive, they're in quarantine for 14 days. We also do fogging of the building, fogging of the buses immediately after we know, in addition to our routine cleaning and fogging, but we just do an extra one just to be safe. And we haven't had any deaths or any serious injuries. To date, since the pandemic has hit, we've had a total of 7 employees between office personnel and drivers that have been tested positive for COVID. We do testing on a weekly basis for the employees voluntarily, so that where it gives them that peace of mind. And we're also doing many measures to keep the public separated from the drivers. We do require masks in order to ride the Comet, covering your nose and face and your mouth. And we also are doing rear door boarding, so drivers and passengers don't interact until we get the barriers installed.
Sounds good.
John, how, as far as the future goes and you know, the plan that y'all are putting into place now, has there been significant buy-in by the board of directors to support you in this very important next 2 decades?
Well, the board did make motions back in 2017 that they want a long-range service plan for Richland and Lexington counties. So fast forward 3 years later, this is what that document is supposed to be, is that long-range plan for how we're going to deliver service. It is going to look at how to deliver service with our current funding levels, but it's also going to look at how we're going to deliver service if we had no penny. So we can get a reality on what that could look like if that was if that unfortunate situation was to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you feel that if hard decisions have to be made, they can be made without too much intervention by someone, and understanding that we can't, you know, sometimes you have what you have and you kind of have to make what you can with it.
That is correct.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Thank you, John.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Did anyone else have any other business they wanted to speak of tonight? Okay. Well, it looks like our next scheduled meeting is for October 26th. I believe. Yep, that's the last week. So if there is nothing else, I appreciate you all getting on and joining us. It's been a little while. Seems like a lot of stuff is starting to move forward, so that's really great news. And yeah, let's be nice to enjoy the Greenway Trail that's about to get released to the city. So I know a lot of people have been eager about that. So we got some good news to come out with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, with that, I will adjourn the meeting and we'll see you in a month. Thank you.